just don't look quite like they did a year ago. Little base running errors, defensive miscues that we did not see last year. Last year we saw a Blue Jays team that was playing airtight, clean baseball. And if they didn't dominate a game, they didn't make the costly mistake. They're doing that a bit too often this year. It feels like they're close, but getting close to July, I don't think close is enough at this point. It needs to happen very quickly.
All right, well, the series continues Tuesday night. We've got Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Jays while the Mets counter with righty Nolan McLean. Thanks, Keegan.
Well, Raptors fans, it feels like 2019 all over again, minus, of course, the NBA championship. A lot of the talk in the last couple of days has been about Kawhi Leonard's possible return to Toronto. Now, Kawhi was clear the last time he came to the Six. He was here for 1 year. And 1 year only. Didn't want to run it back. But it's hard not to question some of the reports that the only team he's willing to sign a long-term extension with is the Raptors. Kawhi on this roster instantly makes Toronto a playoff team, or is it all about leverage again? Here's ESPN's Shams Charania.
Those talks are continuing. They're serious between the Clippers and the Raptors on what would bring Kawhi Leonard back to the Six, back to Toronto. And those conversations have continued today. We'll see how the conversations go for the next few hours, potentially into tomorrow. But all signs point to these two sides being motivated, and the future is nearing its end. Kawhi Leonard's tenure is nearing its end in Los Angeles. Been there for 7 years, but he has not been given any indication that the Clippers want to give him a contract extension. He has 1 year and about $50 million left on his contract. So if the Clippers are not going to give him a contract extension, there are multiple other teams out there in the marketplace that would give him a contract extension. He's coming off a second-team All-NBA season. But as of right now, sources tell me there's only one place that he would commit to long-term, and that's the Toronto Raptors, his former team. He's familiar there. He won a championship there. A lot of the people that he was there with, as far as the front office side and the medical staff, they're still there. And we know how important familiarity and surroundings is to Kawhi Leonard. And so that is where he is looking at potentially for his next home.
Now, Leonard had a renaissance season last year. He had career highs in points and made three-pointers. He averaged nearly 2 steals a game as well. That's something he hasn't done since his San Antonio days. With more, let's go to Glenn Sheeler.
Here's our NBA analyst, Javon Shepard, and here's a sentence I never thought I'd say, but Kawhi Leonard possibly returning to the Toronto Raptors. He's 35 years old, but coming off a pretty impressive season. He was named All-NBA second team, but what's he bringing to the table at this point, and why is this a move the Raptors would even want to do?
Well, I think it would be pretty exciting because if you think about Kawhi Leonard, he's essentially, the player that established the winning culture here in Toronto, right, for the Toronto Raptors, winning them a championship in 2019. But if you look at the season that he's just come off of, he was scoring the basketball at will, having one of his most efficient seasons, just under 30 points. You mentioned him being 35 years old, but he didn't look a day older than 25 the way he was spry. He was getting to the rim, got to his spots, shot the basketball. But I think for this group, right, he brings, winning pedigree. He brings experience, a guy that has done it before, led a team to a championship, right, and this very team. But I think for the guys in the locker room, he brings a presence, right? Probably the biggest presence that they've ever played with, and a leader. So for guys like Scotty Barnes, for guys like CMB, we don't know who would be in that trade, but for those guys, they have somebody that has done it before and knows how to do it, and they can follow his lead.
All right, so you touched on that. We don't know exactly which players might be going the other way in a potential deal, but if Kawhi is on the Raptors, does it make them an immediate contender in the Eastern Conference?
Right away, right? And again, you don't know who's going to be in that deal or who would be in that deal, but when you think about Colin Murray-Bowles, when you think about Kawhi Leonard, Scotty Barnes being together on that perimeter, defensively, there's no team in the NBA that wants to see those guys. You give them a warm time. That trio would give them a warm time. But I think, again, that experience that you get and young guys that are willing, young guys that are hungry, they've also shown that they're ahead of schedule, right? And I think you add Kawhi into the mix and you look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, Boston seems like they're going to implode. We played the Cleveland Cavaliers in that first round, and you took them to just one game where, without Brandon Ingram, without Emmanuel Quickly, it came down to one game where you would advance into the second round. So I think that catapults you right into that second, third spot in the Eastern Conference.
Crazy times in the NBA, as always. The last time Toronto fans saw Kawhi as a Raptor, of course, he was holding the Larry O'Brien trophy. Time will tell if there's a return in the cards.
Well, still inside SportsCenter, Matthew Shinetti dives into Canada's mentality and how the team will approach their next match in uncharted territory this weekend.
Plus, with the clock ticking on the Oilers' Cup window, is Sergei Bobrovsky the missing piece to get them over the hump? Craig Button weighs in Hot or Not.
All the Canadians, but when I shot, I felt that everybody shot with me. Everybody put a little bit of power on it.
It's Eustáquio! Stefan Eustáquio in stoppage time might well have sent Canada into the round of 16 at the World Cup. You are Canadian heroes.
To see the ball go in the back of the net was total joy for us. You can see what it meant to all of us on the team, and I'm sure the whole country. Once we get our phones back, see all the reactions, it means a lot to us.
Well, Canada, hopefully you've had a chance to take a couple of deep breaths after that match on Sunday. Still feels like we're coming down from that high in what was a historic afternoon. But I think right now what you saw happen at the World Cup on Monday too, Kara, is that anyone can beat anyone at any different point. When Germany is going home as a result of facing Paraguay in penalties, Canada is going to face Morocco. It is there for the taking. It is going to be an uphill battle. But here we go. It's one game.
That's the thing with knockout matches is anything can happen. One bad bounce or one bad call, an injury, you never know. You still feel bad for Canada, the only host nation that wasn't able to get their round of 32 match on home soil. Now they got to head to Houston, where it is going to be very hot come Saturday. With more, here's Matthew Shinetti.
And now off to Houston. Canada's men have already traveled to Texas. They will get 2 days off before beginning preparation for the round of 16. Certainly uncharted territory. But they know Houston. They were there last year for the Gold Cup, 2 group stage games, so they know the heat that they're about to face. It is expected to be in the mid-30s all week. And there are certainly going to be questions, not only how they handle the heat, although, to be honest, it really won't be a factor ultimately because Canada's going to be playing inside Houston Stadium, but certainly how that heat is going to affect the health status of this team. They're now going to be playing their 5th game at this World Cup, and certainly with all the intensity and now the travel, it is going to stack up. So the main questions, obviously, to start are going to be, what is the health of Alphonso Davies and what is the health of Moise Bombito? Canada's 2 most important players who made such a significant contribution last night. Obviously, Moise Bombito in the first half on defense, and then Alphonso Davies coming in and completely changing the game against South Africa late on in the second half. What is their status going to be throughout the week? And how is Jesse Marsch going to organize his lineup?